This video is a shorter version of my Pudovkin Dossier videos. I realised that few people want to watch through 20 minutes of video, so I thought I'd make a briefer version. For a much more detailed and better cited video, I'd recommend watching through the two-part series. Our story starts when Potholder 54 accidentally liked this video, the Pudovkin Dossier, evidence of the climate conspiracy. The video is awful, so I wouldn't bother wasting your time with it. We asked for citations from the author, but they deleted the comments, and eventually my questioning got me blocked. They say that they got this dossier from Mikhail Pudovkin, a Russian astrophysicist. Given the content of the video, I highly doubt this. They do not cite any paper that they use in the video. They first flash up 3 screenshots of scientific papers. Only one title is legible. They move on to the unsupported claim that all the planets are warming because the sun is warming. This is not corroborated by any evidence. We keep a close eye on the sun, and its irradiance has levelled off or slightly declined since the 1950s. The pretense of the video is that global warming is not caused by CO2, but because the sun has stopped fusing hydrogen and has begun fusing helium, and there is a massive conspiracy to keep this from the public. I'll point out now that the scientific consensus is that human release of CO2 is to blame for most of the rise. The video goes on to mention the solar neutrino problem, something that is now considered a solved problem. This was a discrepancy between the number of neutrinos detected coming from the sun and the number predicted to be made by nuclear processes within the sun. This is solved because it was found that neutrinos oscillate between their 3 different types, electron, muon and tau. The issue was that the detectors only picked up one type, but new detectors that can detect all 3 find negligible discrepancy between theory and observation. Hence this is a solved problem that is no longer an issue. Next, a 1983 paper is produced and quoted from, sans title of course. I found that this was not published in 1983 but in July 1984 in the journal Space Science Reviews. It is by Kunitomo Sakurai and is entitled The Sun is an Inconstant Star. The paper is really dealing not with any trend in temperature or luminosity, but with variations in the luminosity of the Sun, both upwards and downwards. One part that caught my eye though on page 9 in section 2.3 is: since the total mass of hydrogen nuclei inside the Sun amount to about 1.5 times 10 to the 33 grams, the probable age of the Sun to shine with the present brightness is estimated by dividing this mass with the luminosity, and then calculated to be longer than 10 to the 10 years. Given that the age of the Earth is 4.55 billion years, Sakurai is stating that the Sun has approximately 5 billion years worth of hydrogen supplies left. Next, they say that the scientists looked at stars that are dying, then used a paper, which isn't cited, that the stars blue shifted their sodium deabsorption lines once they've burnt up their hydrogen fuel. The paper is called Mass Loss in Tauri stars by Reinhard Mundt. The important issue is that the paper is discussing Tauri stars, which are at the opposite end of their lives. They have not even started to fuse hydrogen. Thus, using the paper to support this position is completely wrong. Next to be mentioned is a 1988 study, apparently from Harvard. The paper is called Nanoflares and the X-ray Corona by Eugene Parker. This article is not from Harvard, and Eugene Parker has never been affiliated with Harvard. As for this, the claim they make that the study detected a swarm of nanoflares on the surface of our Sun, indicating an intense burn-off of high-energy fuel, is about a quarter correct. Parker did look for and detect nanoflares on the Sun, although it was not on the surface of the Sun, which is generally taken to be the photosphere, as the nanoflares were, as suggested by the title of the paper, found in the corona, which is more like an atmosphere, although this parallel is not exactly perfect. He does not, however, conclude this is a result of fuel burn-off, but discusses interactions between magnetic fields. The claim that they concluded that this had to be the result of helium fusion, not hydrogen, is a lie, pure and simple. The paper does not even contain the word helium. Then it's claimed that an obscure 19th century theory was resurrected. Whilst the idea that carbon dioxide emissions could change our climate did languish in obscurity for about 50 years after it was suggested in 1896, it was discussed throughout the late 50s and 60s, widely researched throughout the 70s, and by the time these papers displayed were produced in the 80s, it was widely accepted and scientists were warning governments about our effects on the planet. Next, a brief shot of a paper entitled Magnetic Processes in a Collapsing Dense Core by Fromang and Hennebelle, which was published in 2008 in Astronomy and Astrophysics. The research is apparently blocked, but this is untrue. Again, this paper is concerned with stars at the opposite end of their lives. To quote the abstract, To understand the star formation process, it is important to study the collapse of a pre-stellar dense core. No paper produced supports the claims made in their video, and one, Sakurai's paper, goes completely against it, implicitly stating that the Sun has about 5 billion years worth of hydrogen left. The lies, the deceit, the fabrication, all found within Pudovkin Dossier's video. Thanks for watching.